Hello everybody, Paweł Ferdyk here from Miskatonic Studio. Today I would like to show you how to create this 3D hologram effect. I think it looks pretty neat, and all you really need to do to create it is a black and white texture like this one that will tell Blender where to put dots and where not, and Blender itself will take care of the rest of the magic. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the default Blender file. Let's remove everything. And let's create an UV sphere. So if you go, you can apply smooth shading for now. If you go to UV editing, you should see that it's unwrapped like this. And that's exactly what we want. We want that kind of representation of the sphere area on the 2D plane. So that's good. And now we need, even though the sphere itself will not be visible in the hologram, we will set the particle system to not show the emitter. But we want for now to have the material with the texture so that we know that we are going to represent the continents properly. But for that we need the texture itself. So where to find it? I got mine here in JHT's Planetary Pixel Emporium. As far as I can tell, this work is public domain, so you can do whatever you want with it. And you want this white and black and white texture that represents continents versus water. So not the colorful one, but the black and white one. And I have chosen the 2K version of this, so just click on this, save, go back to Blender, go to textures, create a new one, and image or movie is okay, but you need to open the file. So let's go to textures, let's load it, and now let's create a material for this sphere. Let's go to shading, let's create image texture, connect, you can here select the earth texture that we just created and connect the color here. And as you can see, continents are nicely shown on the sphere, so now we will know that the hologram dots represent the areas that we want to be represented. Having done that, let's now create a single dot that will be used in our hologram particle system. So let's go back to layout, let's create a cube, let's apply one level of subdivision with Ctrl 1. Let's apply smooth shading, go to materials, create a new material, select emission, strength could be raised to 2, and color I will go with this bluish one. You can choose whatever you want. And yeah, that's basically a single dot that our hologram system will use. And now to make it useful for the particle system, we will move it to a new collection. So let's click M, let's add a new collection called dots, and now also make sure that this dots collection is disabled. So we are not going to show this single dot, we are only going to use it for the particle system, for the globe itself. So now let's go and create this particle system. Click on the sphere again, go to particle properties, create a new particle settings, keep it as emitter. Frame start 1 is okay, but frame end 200 is not okay. Let's put it as 1 so we have all the particles available immediately. Go to physics, set that to none. We will not need any physics for these particles. And go to render, and instead of halo choose collection, and then in collection instance choose dots. These are a bit too big, so let's scale them down to 0.01. But now you can see that aren't that many, so let's create like 30,000 of them instead of 1,000. And that gives us something to work with, but we currently don't see the texture itself, so let's switch to material preview. And you can see the continents nicely right now. But how to make the dots only be shown on the continents? So let's scroll down in the particle system, let's scroll down to textures. Let's select that texture that we just imported. Let's go to texture properties. And now you can see two important things. First is influence and the other is mapping. So let's go to influence, switch from general time to density. So you want this texture to influence the density of this particle system, so where the particles are and where they aren't, which is exactly what we want to achieve here. But you can see that this doesn't look exactly as we wanted. See, there's a huge difference between the particle system and the continents themselves. So let's go down to mapping and change from general to UV. And now that looks much better. You can see the dots now reflect the water, which is almost what we wanted. What we wanted is for them to be placed on the land, not the water, but that can be easily changed. So just go to the density and switch from 1 to -1, and there you go. So yeah, this means that now dots will be on the place where there is black on the texture and not where there is white. We also can go to the settings of the particle system, render, and there is a show emitter checkbox. Uncheck it. We do not want to see the globe itself, we just want to see the shiny dots. Now that takes care of the hologram itself, but let's add a bit more detail. So let's add some background. So let's create a plane. Let's move that plane down the z-axis by -1.2, let's say. Hit tab to edit it, scale it up a bit, select this edge, extrude it along z-axis, select this edge again, Ctrl B to create a bevel, add a bit more segments, tab out, smooth shading, and also you can now create a circle. You can enable snapping to faces, grab Z to place it on the mesh itself. Let's tab in, fill this, inset, grab Z, inset again, just a bit, extrude and down and scale. And you can also switch to face select this one, go here, select this one. Now that's going to be a bit tough. Let's select this one, and I think we need this one. Yes, we should have like four faces along around this hologram. Let's use Control Numpad plus, which is more, then extrude along Alt E, extrude along normals, and extrude this just a bit to create some interesting details here, like this should do. Tab out, shade smooth, and apply a modifier bevel, which I believe 0.01, and 2 segments should do. So yeah, so we have like a nice machine generating this hologram. We will not need light sources for this because the dots themselves will shine, but we might want to have a camera. So let's create a camera. Let's reset the rotation, rotate X 90 degrees, grab Y, actually like rotate X -20 degrees, grab Z. This should be interesting. Let's go to active camera. Let's change the proportions of the camera. Let's say 1200 and 1600. For the purpose of this, let's render with 50%. Let's adjust the camera just a bit. So like, say here. And let's switch the engine to cycles. Oh right, this will just generate a single frame, so let's also set up an animation. So let's go here. Let's say this is going to be a 2-second animation. So we are going to end it like with 30 frames per second. We are going to end it at frame 60. So let's select the Earth itself, the hologram. Press I, insert rotation keyframe. Go to the end. Rotate Z 360 and I again, and now it will nicely rotate, but it will we need to make it linear to have a nice loop. So go to animation, switch to graph editor, go here, click A, interpolate mode, linear, and now this will create a nice animation. Yeah, so with this we can render a single frame of our animation. I will start rendering and I will show you the results. Okay, so this is a single frame of that animation, and if you render 59 more frames, you will achieve something like this. And I think this is a really cool effect to have, considering that all you need to do is all you need to have is one texture, and Blender takes care of the rest. But a couple of notes here. You might notice that during this animation, the dots disappear at some point. That's because the particle system has the lifetime set to 50. Let's set it to 100, and the effect will be gone. Also, you might want to enable denoising data here and go to compositing, use nodes, grab this, add a denoiser node here and connect denoising normal and denoising albedo to achieve a better effect. And yeah, eventually you will have something like this. I hope you find it useful and as cool as I think it looks like. I will link all the resources in the description, so where you can find the texture of the earth and the original blend file too. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching and take care.